So again, very, very welcome everyone to Storyals Webinar, Ignite Your Workday with Copilot Agents. My name is Ulrika Hedlund. I'm the CEO and founder of Storyals. Our mission is to inspire, motivate, and educate new digital ways of working to transform your organization. And it really is an exciting time that we're living in. I was looking back to a session that I did after Ignite 2024 was, and we were then talking about, Copilot and agents. And this time around, we are taking giant, giant leaps. So I'm so happy that you are trusting in us at Storyals to provide you with those insights. Also, if you're watching this recording, I know that you've already found our on-demand resources, but for those of you who are attending live today, if you have missed any of our previous sessions that we've had, they are available in our resources section on our website. So I've added the link here. You can click on it directly in the PowerPoint Live slide or scan the QR code. Here we have lots of great resources. We have our blog, our monthly blog. We have our video blog. We have recorded events, great tools, different types of assessments, and much, much more. So I really hope that you have found these resources and that you make as much use of them as possible. Sanda, do you want to say a few words about, how do we want people to engage today?
Please like, love, use the different reactions, post in chat. I mean, we want an interactive session, so please feel free to do so.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Yes, and like we said, for those of you who feel more comfortable, feel free to put things into the chat. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to take you around many of the announcements from Microsoft Ignite. And for those of you who know me, you know that I love doing this through a visual whiteboard. So I'll be sharing my screen and we'll be looking around some of the announcements that were made. Then I will be demonstrating a lot of the announcements through videos. These are the videos that Microsoft shared during Microsoft Ignite. So these are not live demos. Those of you who attend Storyals typical training sessions, you know that we love to do hands-on and real life scenarios. But what we will be doing here is we will be showing you hot off the press. Some of the things that we'll be showing have already been released, but some of the things are things that are rolling out, either in the Frontier program or for general availability. Okay, so, and again, lovely to see so many familiar faces. So again, last week was Microsoft Ignite. This is Microsoft's flagship big event for customers and partners. And this year it was in San Francisco, November 18th to 21st. 20,000 people were there in person and over 200,000 attended or registered online. So I also want you to be aware that these sessions, there are over 400 sessions. So depending on what it is that you're interested in, there's a lot of information here, free of charge for you to attend and consume. But I know that that's always the challenge, right? Understand, what to watch. And that's what I intend to do here today. Give you a bit of the overview. So if you, like us, are interested in how you can use these new announcements to work smarter, that's what we're going to focus on today. But I do want you to know that all of the sessions are available through this QR code and the link, and we're going to provide you also with all of the links after. So the whole kind of theme of Microsoft Ignite was really around agentic AI. So before, when we looked at Ignite, was all about it was all about Copilot and starting to use AI. Now it's all about agents and really taking this to the next level and looking at how can we build an intelligent organization from the bottom up. So many of you might have heard of the frontier firm, really looking at using AI from the bottom up and transforming the way that we're working. Very much like we had in the day where we had cloud-based organizations that were born in the cloud. Now we're looking at these frontier firms that are really born using AI and using agents. Now, if you want to have the full look at all of the announcements, Microsoft has published something called Microsoft Ignite Book of News. So this is a really good resource. So the Book of News is you can choose what audience you want to look at. So if you're a journalist or if you're a technical decision maker, and then from that you can scroll down and the information will be, made for you. You can look at the entire table of contents for all of the things that were announced during Microsoft Ignite. And the beauty with all of this is that none of this is under NDA, all of this is public information, and Microsoft wants us to share this. So under each of these sections, you can go in and you can get all of the details there. So the Book of News is a really, really good resource. But let me give you also, because the keynote, of course, is kind of where you get the big themes and where you understand what's going on. The keynote is almost 3 hours long. So even if you say that, I'm just going to watch the keynote, this is a 3-hour session that you should go through. This was the first time that it wasn't Satya Nadella that was on stage. So as you might know, Satya Nadella is the chairman and CEO of Microsoft. But in October, he announced that he was stepping down from some of the commercial initiatives to fully focus on, the AI transformation. And Judson Althoff instead, who's now the CEO of the commercial business, which is like 75% of Microsoft's total revenue, is leading that. And he was the one that opened the keynote, and he was also the one that talked about these, the key pillars and the key changes. So I do recommend that you watch the keynote. If you don't have the entire 3 hours and you just want to have a good overview, so the TL too long, didn't read, if that applies to you, then again, I can warmly recommend a blog post. This actually is not from Microsoft. This is from the Neuron AI. But this is a really, really good article that goes through kind of minute by minute. So if you go down here, minute by minute, like chapters of the entire keynote, so that you can go in and you can see exactly what it is that you want to watch. Of course, the chapters go into, to YouTube. So you're going to have to, go with a few advertisements there. But it's a really good chapter indication of everything that was announced at Microsoft Ignite. So good resources for you there. Okay, so what else was kind of the big theme? Let me switch over again to whiteboard. Well, it really is about agents. Okay, so agents, and how we will be working together. There was a number from IDC projecting that by 2028, there will be 1.3 billion agents. Now, I don't really know what that means for us as humans, and I don't even know if that number is real. But I think why it's important is that we really need to rethink how we are managing and how we are working with agents. They really need to become, second nature. Just like we work with computers and internet and, how we've gotten used to prompting, we're going to get used to handing off more and more work to agents. That will be totally normal to us. Of course, when we need to manage and we need to work with all of these agents, the question around manageability and keeping track and having security and governance around all of this becomes extremely, extremely important. So one of the big announcements also that Microsoft announced was something called Microsoft Agent 365. And for those of you who are IT administrators that access the Microsoft 365 admin portal, you will already see this live. So this is really the control plane. I see we have attendees here from some of our airlines. So this is the control plane for agents. This is the place where we will be able to govern and really keep track of the agents that are being used in our organization, whether these are out-of-the-box agents, third-party agents, or agents that we have or that our end users have built themselves. So here we will be able to keep track and monitor and look at the usage of these agents. This was introduced by a gentleman called Charles Lamanna. He's super cool. He is really one of the key people behind Microsoft's entire AI strategy, and he's the president of business applications and agents at Microsoft. So it's pretty cool to be the president of agents within Microsoft. So this is a tool for admins to manage, not an end user tool, but it feels really, really good that there are tools available for organizations to make sure that they can deploy and freely adopt these, or not freely adopt, but control the adoption of agents in our organizations, and also to see what information these agents have access to. Another super cool announcement that was made during the keynote was by Ryan Rolansky. He's Executive Vice President of Office and the CEO of LinkedIn. So as many of you might know, many years ago, Microsoft acquired LinkedIn. And here they also have a lot of information. And we've written blogs before about people skills. So the ability for Microsoft 365 to tap into the knowledge and the skills of your organization. And a lot of that work comes from LinkedIn. He introduced something called Work IQ. So what is Work IQ? Basically, they explain it as three things. First, it's data signals. Typically, we talk about Microsoft Graph as that data layer as in Microsoft 365. This is where it keeps track of who's your manager, who are your direct reports, what email have you sent, what calendar appointments do you have, what documents are you working on. All of that is the data. Next comes the memory. So building a layer of a memory of your behavior, your tonality, how do you typically respond to email? What's your work behavior, and keeping that into memory. And the third one is inference, really predicting and drawing conclusions based on that knowledge of what it is that you want for more personalized and proactive assistance. Now, you might wonder, is this just a marketing theme? Is this a way for Microsoft to make the Microsoft Graph a little bit more marketing friendly? But this is really not the point. It is an architectural layer that Microsoft 365 Copilot, the ones that have the Copilot license, can tap into. But it's also available through APIs. So even developers can tap in and leverage Work IQ. And something that was brought forward more times than I've seen before was really the comparison of using Microsoft 365 Copilot, so the premium version where you will have access to Work IQ and all of these agents, and also using connectors, for instance, if you are using, for instance, ChatGPT with connectors into Microsoft 365. So a number of these comparisons were made where they showed the benefit of having it built in and leveraging Work IQ as that intelligence layer on top. So Work IQ, it isn't an app, it isn't something that you will see, it is just empowering the entire evolution of the agents and of Microsoft 365 Copilot. Another thing that was announced, and that was, I call it more AI for everyone with Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat. So many of you might know that Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat has had many names since its debut. It started as Bing Chat Enterprise, and then it had multiple names. But the name that is now for Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat, this is the version that everyone who has a Microsoft 365 license has access to. And even this year in September, Microsoft introduced a number of new enhancements to this version of Copilot Chat. During Ignite last week, they announced even more things that you will be able to do. So it really is making sure that everyone in your organization can safely and securely embrace AI through Copilot Chat, and then they are pushing the boundary and pushing the levels of what you will be able to do with the paid license. So what I wanted to do now actually is I wanted to do a little bit of a call out, because what we've done, and this is also in collaboration with Microsoft, is that we need to ensure that everyone who has a Microsoft 365 license today really knows how to use Copilot Chat. And I'm going to show you the Copilot Chat Challenge. So this is a challenge that we introduced yesterday in collaboration with Microsoft. And of course, we're super happy about bringing this to users all over the world. Many of you know that most of our courses are only for paying customers or subscribing customers that have the Storyals training product. But this challenge is a place where you can safely and securely train your employees on safely using Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat. And what I love about this challenge is that it's a personalized journey. So depending on how far you've come in your learning journey, you can make sure that you tune it based on what you want to do. So there's the welcome video, and I'm going to play it here. So when I play the first welcome video, I get to choose, almost like those, Netflix series that you watch, what path you want to go down your learning. So if you take the first one and say, I've tried Copilot Chat, but I'm not super comfortable, we will go into the beginnings and telling you how to prompt and telling you the importance of being logged in and seeing the enterprise data protection. But if you already use it frequently and you just want to know about the latest features, we will come to the latest capabilities that were introduced in September.
One of the great
So here we go through working with files with Copilot Chat. We go through how to create content using the Creation Hub, how to use the Copilot Chat in Outlook, for instance, and how to engage with Copilot on the mobile. Once you've done that, it is time for something new, a story-based challenge. So this is a new concept where we're actually asking users to play and learn by playing. So they click on this learning journey and then they get to show off their skills, and we get to see, or they get to see how to prompt, and they go through a guided learning journey. And once they're done with that, they Microsoft Learn badge. So again, please do try that out and see what it thinks. So Warren is asking an exciting question. So do you capture data of who completes it so we can see which of our staff have gone through it if we roll it out? So the answer is that yes, data is captured, but if we just have it as this online link that we shared with you, then no, you will not be able to see who of your staff. So in your case, Warren, it would be much better that this learning journey is included in your Learn 365 environment or in your normal learning environment, because then you will be able to see it and to track it. But great question. Okay, that was just a little side note. So let us go back to Ignite and what was shared there. But again, and Warren, great to see, by the way. I know you said you were going to watch the recording in double speed. Okay, so that's one of the things. Copilot Chat, more features and more functionality for everyone. So then you might ask, what about those of us who are paying the premium license, so the $30 per month? First of all, there was an announcement that Microsoft is introducing a version of Microsoft 365 Copilot Premium, if you will, for smaller organizations at a lower price point than the $30 per month. So this is really good news for small and medium businesses. I believe it was up until 300 employees, but do not quote me on that. I would need to double check the facts there. Now, what are the things that you can do if you have the premium license? Well, so first of all, the work IQ that I told you about, really knowing your graph, knowing everything that you're working on, and having that to empower your Copilot assistant. This is part of the Microsoft 365 premium license. Now, there is a really good session. And again, I'm going to put the link into the chat, because if you only watch one session, then this is the one that I think that you should watch. I'll put it there into the chat. It is the key people in Microsoft, what was previously called information worker or modern work, but that's now called, what is it called? AI for work, I believe, or something AI. They have a session purely on Microsoft 365 Copilot. And this is where they go through all of the capabilities in Microsoft 365 Copilot, the premium version. And the way that they structure this, and I'm going to follow the same structure, is really about a little bit rethinking how we work with agents. So the first part, or the first pattern, as they said, they mentioned it as 3 patterns of work. The first pattern is around AI as an assistant, using it to schedule meetings, using it to get insights, and using it, as a side, as a companion, as an assistant. This is very familiar to many of us who have been using Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot, for quite some time. The second phase, this is more as looking at Copilot as a teammate, adding Copilot to your chats, adding Copilot to your channels in Microsoft Teams, and adding Copilot as a facilitator, for instance, in your meetings. Again, these are things that we're already starting to become familiar with, but this is something that will really be pushed this coming year. The third one, and to be honest, I still feel that this is a little bit freaky. I don't know if even I'm ready for this yet. This is using AI as real operators. This is when you're giving work away to an AI operator that actually goes in and updates things in systems, purchases things, of course, with your approval, but goes through an entire business process, an entire workflow. And all you need to do is just have some checkpoints to see if if you wanted to proceed or not. And of course, this will, totally revolutionize the way we are working, and also the way that we're staffing for various types of processes. So with that, enough talking. I'm going to go in and we're going to have a look now at these 3 different levels. And what I'm going to do is, we might not have time to go through all of these, and I want to make sure that we have time to cover all 3 stages. So we might do this, that I go through a few of them in the beginning here, and then we can always go back and look more. So with that, I'm going to stop here and we're going to go into the demonstration, or it's not demonstration, the video. So this feels very easy now, because typically when you need to do things live demos, you never know if they work, but these are pre-recorded. So I'm gonna start with just using Copilot as an agent. Okay, so I'm not gonna play the audio here of the video. I'm just gonna play the video and walk you through what's happening here. So the first thing that we're doing here is that we're looking at the different agents to the normal productivity applications that we're used to. So as you might see on the left-hand side, it says Frontier. So this is almost like an alpha or beta channel where the latest AI features are becoming available to customers. So customers can choose to be in the Frontier program. Then they get access to these Frontier experiences with agents. So again, those of us who are used to using Copilot, for instance, in Excel, we know that we would go into Excel and then we would bring in Copilot, and then we would work with Copilot in the Excel spreadsheet itself. What we're doing now with these agents is that we're still using the Copilot chat interface, but we're handing over tasks to these agents. And unlike before, where you kind of got stupid answers, where Copilot chat would say, okay, I will schedule a meeting for you in Outlook, but it never did. But now with these agents, it can actually go in and it can execute on your behalf. So here, this is Nicole that's logged in. She's saying, schedule a 30-minute meeting on Wednesday to discuss our upcoming Contoso briefing, add an agenda, etc. So what Copilot does then goes into, again, the work IQ. It knows that Nicole here, who Nicole is, and it looks at the calendars to see, what is available here. So here you can say, send an invite for option 1. So it comes back and it says, are you sure that you want me to schedule this meeting? And then it says, yes, confirm. I want you to schedule this meeting. And then it gives you a, a confirmation that this has now been confirmed. Okay, so now we've said that we've done this and that we want to, that meeting has been scheduled. Now what we want to do is that we want to look at taking data and putting it into Excel. So you might have missed here, but the prompt here earlier was to take a lot of information from the company Contoso. They wanted to look at different metrics in terms of adoption metrics, etc. So what she's doing now, so she has this prompt and she said, okay, look at all of the data that you can gather from Contoso. And now I want to hand it over to an agent. And as you can see, when you turn the toggle in the prompt, you can see all of these different agents that you can hand off tasks to. And in this case, she's going to choose the Excel agent. So what happens there, and now she's kind of pre-populated this, she says, create an executive dashboard for this data showing usage trends, adoption rates, and support ticket analysis. Calculate month-over-month growth, retention metrics, service level agreement compliance, and health scores. Structure it with linked data across multiple sheets for a production-ready workbook. This is her prompt. This is what she puts in. So again, it's not just a graph. It's not just a sheet. It is an entire workbook with all of these sheets into your Excel workbook. Now, before it continues, it's going to ask you some follow-up questions. Would you like to include a dashboard sheet? And would you like to have visualizations? She says, yes, this is good. I want to include visualizations. Yes, I like this color, this theme of this graph. And then she can continue then with this. Okay, now she switched the layouts of the template. All this data is now being worked behind the scenes with the power of these really, really powerful tools. And I remember a few years ago when we started working with this and we said, you know what, Copilot isn't really great for data. It isn't great in Excel, but what we can do now and the results that you're getting are really mind-boggling. So what she's done now is that she goes into this sheet, and as you can see in the bottom, I hope that you can see it, you can see that this Excel spreadsheet has multiple tabs. It has the dashboard with the adoption rate. It has all of the data nicely structured in different tables. And what's great about this as well, this is a fully functioning Excel spreadsheet because you could tap on any cell and you will be able to see all of the formulas that are being used here. So it's really is, you know, a starting point, getting all of that data in there, and then you can continue to work with this agent mode, and you can start, you know, you can continue to work on this data. So that is just an example of how you could use Copilot Chat and then handing it over to that Excel agent and getting that power there for continuing. So we're really changing also our way of working. Again, before we went to Excel when we knew that we needed to do data. We went to Word when we knew that we needed to write something. But now, working with Copilot Chat as our assistant, we can really choose to, hand over in any way that we want. Now, I have similar demos showing Copilot, the Copilot agent, where you can work with Word and hand things over, pre-populating, say, for instance, that you have an RFP template or a proposal template. You could then ask Copilot to fill out the different fields of this document with the knowledge that you give to it. Same thing with PowerPoint, where you can hand over data to PowerPoint and it will provide you with a really, I shouldn't, when I say nice looking deck, it depends on, the template that you choose, or if you, use your own corporate template. But again, it gives you that data. And unlike before, when there was a challenge where you said, it always made like a 40-slide PowerPoint template, no matter how you prompted. Now you can also go and specifically say to this agent, how many slides do you want this PowerPoint to be? So everything that we've learned and everything that we've been working on is just being boosted even more with these agents as your personal assistants or AI companions. The next step then, that is really looking at AI as your teammates. So what I wanted to show a little bit here are first how you can have agents in Teams chats very easily, convert any type of Copilot chat conversation into a group team chat with Copilot as a colleague together with other colleagues, and also how you can use it in Teams channels. There's also a really powerful agent called the Knowledge Agent. This is in public preview, but will be rolling out, I believe, in February 2026, which is extremely powerful for getting all of that metadata into your SharePoint document libraries that none of us really want to do. So let's move on to step 2 here, and let's start looking at using AI agents as our teammates. And again, I have to be I have to be totally honest when I look at all of this. In the beginning, when we looked at having Copilot as a buddy in a chat, I was like, oh, we don't want to have more chats. We want to control our conversations and we want to have them in channels. But this time I'm really, really happy because Microsoft are pushing big time that channels are the place for work. You might start a chat just as an instant kind of a quick, just, conversation, that's fine. But whenever you should start actually working on something, they're really, really communicating big time that those conversations should be in channels. But let me show you something, and you might already have this in your tenant. We have it within Storyals already. And that is a little button up here that looks like a, two people with a little plus on it. So this is going from a Copilot chat conversation and adding it to a Teams group chat. So let me show you this. So in this case, I'm not really sure. So this is Nicole, and she asked about product launch readiness. So they're launching a new product, Zava Core product launch, and she's asking, are we ready for this? Again, you can see that she's turned the toggle to work, looking at the work IQ and looking at the intelligence in our organization and asking, are we ready to launch this product? In this case, Copilot chat answers, looks at the data and makes a table of all of the things that are on track or at risk. Now, before you might want to copy that table, send it in a chat to someone, but instead what she does now is she clicks on that icon and adds it to a group chat within Teams. She can choose if she wants to include a lot of history, like a lot of the conversation, or maybe just the last message that she included here. So instead of copying and pasting, you can start a Teams group chat directly from the conversation that you are having with a Copilot. Now, the cool thing is that now there's a group chat with Jeff Teeper as well, but Copilot is still one of the buddies. So you can mention, Jeff in this case, but you could also mention the Copilot to continue to get more insightful. So in this little video demo, she asks Jeff to join her on stage, and then he comes on to show this was using Copilot in a group chat. But let's move on now and let's look at using Copilot in a channel instead. And that again is something that we definitely promote and support within Storyals. So we're going to move on and we're going to look at another channel, which is around Fiber launch. So this is a channel. It might look almost like a chat. This is the new threaded view that you can have within Microsoft Teams. So many users feel a little bit uncomfortable in a very organized, normal posted view. So you can change in Teams at the moment now. You can choose if you want it to be threaded like this. So it feels a little bit more like a group chat, but in fact, it is a channel. So the documents are stored in SharePoint, and you have control over adding and removing members and better permission control. So here we have a channel. And in this channel, we've chosen also to add a channel agent. So as you can see, there is a channel agent called the Fiber Launch Agent. So this agent also has access, to what's in the channel. So any information and any documents that are stored here in the channel, this agent then can have access to. So then, in this case, Jeff is asking, pull up the latest issues from Jira labeled risks. So this is again is a third-party system where there's a connector for Copilot. So then Copilot can bring up these support ticket issues that are outstanding and pull it out as a table. And in this case, if you want, you can then add this to your thread. So it's like you're adding an intelligent coworker that has insights into all of the documents. And then you can, choose to reply to different threads, or you could, mention someone else in this team. Again, you can ask the agent to schedule a meeting, just like we showed before with the Copilot agent that had access to Outlook. So here, the channel agent can coordinate with the Outlook agent that then can schedule a meeting. So again, we need to get away from the thinking of, I need to go into Outlook to do this, or I need to go into Excel to do this. Instead, we're going to go with our work and we're just going to use our natural language and we're going to say, what is it that we want to get done? And then our agents will help us, pick the right tool and provide us with the right format. We're still in the teams or AI as teammates. So I'd like to move on and show you the meeting facilitator. I don't know if you've started using this, but we use it for all of our meetings that are not channel meetings, because then it doesn't work. And it really is great. So you have then this is an out-of-the-box agent that's already been released, but it's getting more and more and better functionality. So basically what the facilitator agent is, you can choose to turn it on or turn it off in a meeting. And as you will see at the top here, you can see a bar. It says campaign messaging, content creation, and product readiness. So it brings a visual agenda outline to your meeting and does an AI-based progress based on what you're talking about. So it isn't just the time that's elapsed, it's actually looking at what are you talking about and how's that linking to the topics on the agenda. Now, it picks this agenda either from just the body of the meeting invitation or from the loop component agenda if you put that in, but you could also just tell it in the chat. So in this case, let's look at this. So we're in the chat, and in this case, Jeff will mention the facilitator agent. And now he's going to say to this facilitator agent, add success metrics to the agenda and allocate 30 minutes. So as you can see, now we have success metrics added, and this must have been 2-hour meeting because it kind of was added, at the end that visually. So, and for those of you who are already using the facilitator, you can ask it, put a timer for 5 minutes, or, you can ask it to do things in the meeting itself. What you might have missed, let me go back here in the recordings. So what he also did here is he asked the facilitator to draft a document based on the strategy. So again, he's handing off work to the agent while he's in the meeting. I don't know if I like this multitasking, if it's very good, but anyway, that's what he did. He asked the agent, the facilitator, to create this insight document on the strategy. And again, they could pull that up. So having agents as our teammates, really helping out, For years, we've been talking about how can we make sure that we have more efficient meetings. And I really, really like the facilitator agent because it's that, it's that buddy that helps you and keeps track of what you've done. And what it also does, and this is really, really nice, is that the facilitator agent takes the notes and also adds that to the meeting notes itself. So to the loop component, let's see if I can show that. I thought it was here in the beginning. So you see here. So what the facilitator does is that it also adds the AI generated notes. And of course, those of you who are in organizations where some have the premium license and some don't, even if you don't have the premium license of Microsoft 365 Copilot, you can still, of course, access all of the notes. So this way, you have a facilitator agent that's populating this and taking the notes in the meeting so that those are always available for everyone. Of course, the meeting has to be transcribed in order for the facilitator and for Copilot to work. Great stuff. Okay, we have 10 minutes. So you know what? I'm gonna continue, and I'm gonna show one more of the team-based agents. That is the knowledge agent in SharePoint. So I know we have some other people who love SharePoint. So this is really something that's gonna change the lives of those of us who are trying to keep, document library structured and trying to keep information managed in a proper way. And this is, more important than ever before. Even if we're, using agents and we have all this help, all of the intelligence that these agents have are based on the knowledge in our organization. So it is critical that we manage our information, that we archive and remove or delete items that should not be relevant anymore, that we have good metadata. But a lot of that metadata really can be extracted from the documents itself and then be much easier for us humans to read. So as you can see here, we have a document library in SharePoint, and here we've added some metadata. So we can look at which store it's been sold in, and we can see if it's in stock, if it's available, but then we don't have many more columns. And again, for those of us who've been trying to get people to populate metadata, you know that it's quite difficult to get humans to do that, but it's great for AI. So what we'll do here, we'll hover over the knowledge agent, and here we can do different things. We can say that we want to organize this library. So what the agent does is that it looks at different things. So here we can say create columns for product name, category, and material. So what it does then, it goes through and it creates those columns, and it picks up the metadata from the documents themselves and asks you if you want to add this as a new view in your document library. I'm getting lots of hearts here for those of us who want to get organized and keep our data safe. So here I can choose to save these changes. And again, these changes will be applicable and visible to everyone. So you're doing the magic with a premium agent, but the impact that you're having on the organization is for the benefit of everyone. So that is, part of using AI as agents. This is, again, just a little collection. There are lots more. There's a sales agent. There's so many agents, but I wanted just to highlight a few of them. And for you to understand this concept of AI assistants, AI teammates, and now we're going up to the AI operators. Okay, hold tight. This is when we really take it to the next level. I see Sanna smiling. I remember the first time I used the researcher agent, and I asked the researcher agent to do an entire marketing campaign, and Sanna was like, oh, you don't need me anymore. Don't you worry. We definitely need a lot of people leading agents, but we want to work smart and we want to take advantage of all the AI power at our disposal. So the first thing that I want to show here is something called Workforce Insights. So this is an agent that's a continuation of the people skills. Again, we wrote a blog about it a few months ago. Please do revisit it. It's under the resources. And this taps into the knowledge of your people. It's something that you need to enable in the admin center. It's not on by default, but if you enable it, I guess it would be the work IQ, or the graph would pick up things that you're working on, and it would link that to different skills, and it would put it on your profile. So for instance, there I have, workshop facilitation, training, webinars, marketing. So under my profile, it's added these skills so that other people also can see the skills that I have. Now, in a small organization, this typically isn't an issue, but as you grow and as you scale up, it becomes quite difficult to see all of the skills that you have in your organization and also the gaps that you have. So here's a prompt. How is my organization currently staffed? Provide a breakdown by skills. Visualize the breakdown and identify where we should add more support for a product launch. Again, this prompt could be anything, right? You could say, what areas do we need to skill up in, or what is it that we need to do? So what it does, the Workforce Insights agent, is it goes into these skills, and we'll fast forward and we'll then get into the result directly. So here it starts looking at the organization. So it starts looking at the different skills that we have in the organization, counts the number of people, percentages, and then it starts looking at some launch critical skills coverage, where we have a strong and moderate and where we have it low, and also looking at where we probably need to look at focusing. So regional marketing and program management are areas where we need to do more. So adding, again, enabling the skills layer, and then using this agent. And of course, all of this data is protected depending on what permissions and what access level you have. But great for talent management and for anything in human resources. Okay, final one. Now, this is the new one. So this is Opal. This is where you hand off an entire process to an agent. So in this example here, onboard my new marketing hire, Rachel, using our onboarding guide. And start the agent. So what happens? You can see the computer view down in the left-hand corner. So you can actually see this agent working. So going to the employee onboarding guide, looking at the PC request portal where you would go in and you would buy a PC. And here it says you can go in and you can see it's actually filling out the text. It's doing this for you. At any time you can go and you can take control, but otherwise what it will do, it will say, Opal needs your attention. So there are guardrails put in place for what the agent cannot do without you. So here, for instance, we've picked up on a place where it needs approval. So here I can take control and I can submit this request. So you can have your agent working side by side, and then you kind of just take over and you take control whenever you need to. So I don't know about you. I think it's we're definitely going to try it out, but it is a little bit out there when you see it like this. So again, this is a demo, and for sure we need to get our hands on this and see how we can implement it in our organizations. With that, we've come to the end of the session. But if there's one call to action to all of you, it really is this. You need to upskill your employees, and you need to upskill on all ranges. You need to, provide the fast runners with the skills for how to use these new agents that are coming into the workforce. But for the ones who are set in their ways of working, you really need to inspire them, and you need to show them what's possible so that you really move the whole organization. Only then can you get the real impact from all of these amazing tools that you're introducing in your organization. So again, the Copilot Chat Challenge is in collaboration between Storyals and Microsoft. Try it out yourself. You can share it freely with employees in your organization. But like I said, you will not get access to the usage data. This is just kind of free learning. But everyone who does this will get a Microsoft Learn badge on their profile. So with that, thank you so much. It's lovely seeing you all. And again, get busy working with agents. Have a lovely day. Thank you.